Hey guys, how are you doing? I know this is an odd time to come on live, but I just wanted to come over and do something because honestly, I'm trying to clean out. Like I have, you know how you have catch-all drawers in your kitchen? Well, I have a catch-all pink little bucket in my craft room, and I'm trying to work my way through stuff. So, yeah, and this is something I want to work my way through. I've used it a couple times, and I thought it would be so much fun to come on and show you 3 different ways that you can use a stencil. And then I'm also using these cute, hi, hello, hi, inviting thoughts. Even though I know who you really are, I don't want to say your name because I don't know if like you want me to, so I won't. So anyway, I'm going to use it in coordination with this stamp set by Simon Hurley. I think it's so funny. I actually already have the images colored, so I thought I would make some cards, and I'm going to be doing this 3 different ways, 3 techniques. And I do have a video on how to do 7 techniques with a stencil, but we're going to do 3, and pretty much when I get done with this today and the stamp set, I'll go ahead and be able to stash that. Okay, well, I won't say it, but if you say it, I'm okay with it. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give it away. Anyway, she is from Australia. Thank you. It's Simon Hurley's, and I'm talking to someone online right now who's watching. She's from Australia, so it's a little bit different day, and she had a really cool stationery. Is that what it was? Business. Anyway, pretty awesome. So the first thing I'm going to do on this is I'm going to do alcohol ink on it. This is some glossy cardstock, and I did list 2 shops down below in which I found pretty much everything I'm using there. Scrapbook.com I think is a little bit better with Blitsy with finding all of this. If you want to do one-stop shopping, I would go with them. It doesn't make any difference to me though, but that's what I would do. So anyway, first thing is alcohol ink, and I'm doing this first because I might have to set it aside because it has to set up and dry before we move on to the other thing. But what this is this is that glossy cardstock, and I'm just going to pop some colors down. I'm going to use red pepper, wild plum, and denim. So I'm just going to go ahead and just put some colors on, and you know, I'm really generous with my colors, as you can see, and put some plum down. And this is going to be a vibrant background. I need it to be a vibrant background with what I'm going to do to it. So I'm going to use the alcohol lift ink on it, and I'm going to hope that it works. I did it 2 other times and it kind of worked. I heard the alcohol lift ink can be a little bit finicky. Oh, you're babysitting. Oh, no, that's okay. I totally understand. It's up all the time. Have fun with your grandson. That is awesome. Okay, so I'm just using some blending solution now, and I'm just going to kind of pat this through and get that color to move. Clearly, I needed to swap out this because it's soaked. Mental note. So I'm just going to get this kind of laid out, blending solution on here, and then I'm going to go back through with some more color and just kind of, I'm really putting a lot of alcohol ink down because I want my lift to work. So, yeah. It's a lot. I know. And then I'll put a little bit more blue down. And this is fairly saturated at this point, so I'm going to have to let it sit up a little bit. And I will swap out with another foam pad because that one I think has lived its last life. I tend to use my foam pads until they literally are dead and gone. All right, let's see if this one holds a little bit better. Yeah, and it's just, I'm just moving that color around a bit. And there is some blending solution on this still. And so what I can do even is put a little bit more down. And then if I have to, I can put some of the color on my sponge on my felt and move it, but I think I'm kind of liking that now. I think that looks pretty cool. And I have to let this set aside to dry, and then we'll come back to it. But I wanted to get that laid out. And again, this is that glossy cardstock by Tim Holtz. And it works really nice with this. So I'm going to just let that be for a minute here. Set this aside to dry. We'll come back to it, finish it off last. Because like I said, I want to do that alcohol lift on it. And I hear that the alcohol lift can be quite finicky. So yeah, we'll come back to that and we'll move on to the next one. So I'm going to be using on this next one some Distress Oxide, create a background, and then just make a card out of it, basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first pop down a base. Colors I've chosen are Blueprint Sketch, Faded Jean, and Wilted Violet. And I'm going to give this a nice shake. Again, I do have a splat box, but whenever I use the splat box on video, it kind of, it's hard to do it with the video, I think. You have to get it really far up, and then I can't see comments or anything. So I am just going to use it this way. I'm shaking these up because I need to, and I'm first going to pop down some color. So I'm going to pop down some of this Faded Jean and Blue Sketch, and then also some Wilted Violet. Hit it with a heat gun real quick to get it set, and then I'm going to go through. I don't want to oxidate it. I don't like to oxidize mine. I like to leave them as is. I like the brightness of it. All right, and I am going to get those corners once again, and I'm going to use the denim jeans on the corner, I think. Boop. And then I will go ahead and lay my stencil on over it and do a nice covering with the Wilted Violet. All right, so from here, now you can lay the stencil on straight up and down, but I kind of like it off center like that. So I'm just going to do this, and my hands are getting nice and dirty. And I'm going to take my Wilted Violet and just go over the whole thing really well. And then you can even take another cardstock sheet and lay it on over like this and just get like a ghost image, which is kind of fun to do as well. And make sure you really rub that down. And then lift that up. So that's kind of cool, and you can still work with that. I could throw on some lighter colors or some Distress Spray Stain, which would be nice on that. And then let's just lift this and see what we have here. And it's super, super subtle. I don't know if you can see. It is there. But what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to lay this back down, try to mimic the pattern that I had. And I'm going to actually spray it with a little bit of water to get it moving. I do want to oxidate it just a little bit. And that'll just kind of get it moving. And I'm going to get a paper towel and pick up some of that color. Let's see how this is. And then boom. So that's really cool. And then I'm actually going to go back in with some black suits because I want to really darken that up a little bit more. I want to make that pop a little bit more. So I'm just going to lay it down. And I can line it up fairly well. And I'm shaking up my black soot. Y'all know that I have weird names for different things. Let's just throw some of this on here. And this should show up really well. And again, I'm just going to, and then I can take this once again and go over it like on a diagonal to give a little bit of a different look to it. So that's kind of cool. You can't even tell that that's really Christmassy, which is fun. So you can just totally use all of this up. I mean, I'm even getting some off over here, and then you can take it and just hit it with some water as well and get a fun oxidized look on it. So let me just get some droplets on here. And if you do a slow trigger pull, you'll get the droplets, which I just love. And then boom. And so now you can definitely really start to see that stenciled image through. All right, so I'll set this off to the side and we'll finish off our cards in a minute. Let me kind of clean up my space really quick, just so I can move on to the next thing. And I'm actually going to check out this alcohol ink background that I did and see if it's ready, because my next thing involves glitter. My third technique is glitter, and I really don't want to have to move back from that and try to get it all cleaned up. I have to do that in the sink. So I'm just going to really get a nice cleaning on this. Clean off my workstation. This is that Ken Oliver Splat Mat. It's like the best craft mat ever or something. And it's pretty freaking epic. I love it. I have two. I have a big one where I do my filming for my pre-recorded filming. And then this is at my desk, because my desk has better internet connection than my little place where I film. So go figure, huh? All right, so let's see if this is dry. I think it is. All right, so what I'm going to do from here, this is a little bit of a different way to use this alcohol lift technique. And like I said, I have had some issues with this before. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't always work. So let's just see. That's part of the fun of doing it live is, well, we don't know if it's going to work. So I'm going to use this as a stamp right now. So I'm getting a really, really nice coverage on this. And I am doing it on a foam because there is no, there's no cushion to it whatsoever. And I'm going to flip this over and make sure that that's, I hope that there's plenty on there. And I'm going to just take my dry alcohol ink and inked background, and I'm just going to lay it on down. I'm going to take my brayer and brayer it on just to make sure that I have nice, adequate, you know, coverage on it, and really get that alcohol ink on in there, or the alcohol lift ink in there. And let's just see if this worked. This may, well, it started to lift on there, so that's a good thing. And he says, Tim Holt says to use a clean towel, and yeah, it's not really, I'm not seeing it much. So guys, I don't know if I'm really sold on this alcohol lift ink. It's expensive, and I don't think it always works. I think it's really temperamental. So that's okay. I can use this background for something else. No worries, but it didn't really work like I had hoped. and I've never had it really work with a stamped image either. So I don't know if it's because my environment is just dry and it just doesn't work or what, but a lot of people have had similar issues with it as well, and I'd rather you guys see it not work for real on an uncensored, unsponsored channel than see it work for fake and go off and buy something that is not good. All right, so from here, I want to create a glittered background. This is going to be super fun. So I'm going to take this again, and I'm actually going to use some of my purple tape on this because I want to make sure that, and let me see, do I want it like this? I think I like it like that. I'm going to actually tape down the back of it because I don't want it to move around as I'm doing this, but I also don't want there to be a tape mark. So I really like this purple tape. If you don't have purple tape, no, don't despair. Just use washi that you've run on your shirt or your clothes a few times, and that will do the same thing. It'll hold it down and won't rip. You just don't want it to be super tacky. Okay, and this did hold last time, so maybe I need to flip it over and get it to hold. All right, so I'm going to take my Gina K Glitz Gel. This is very different in texture and consistency than a Nuvo Paste. This is definitely more liquidy, and this is not as liquidy. So I prefer this on this than this one. The glitter paste does dry really fast, but let me get one that's open. But it's super thick, and it's literally, it's like a paste. It is a paste. So let me show you what this looks like, this glitter paste in comparison. I mean, that is a paste, which is awesome. I mean, it's not a bad thing to do, and I've made some beautiful backgrounds with it, which I'll show you in a moment, using a stencil, but you know, it's a legit paste, whereas the glitter, the Glitz Glitter Gel by Gina K, and I think ThermoWeb is the one that created it, it is more liquidy, it's more fluid, and it just really applies nicely. So this is the consistency, and this is where I'm going to use it. I really like it. See how it's just, it's not as thick. There's a little bit more, it's just more movable in my opinion. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of this and lay it out like so. And then I have this handy dandy stencil tool that is also by ThermoWeb. And I'm just going to spread it out. And this just allows me to get a nice coverage relatively quickly and not have to worry about, you know, a spatula, which can be time consuming. So I'm just making sure that I've gone through and I have it in all those areas. The nooks and crannies are all completely covered. All right, and I think I do, so I can take this up, and I also love that it's has a big mouth on it. That's what I like to call it, because I can take all of that excess and put it back in here. And what I find really nice about this gel is even though I've opened it and used it several times, it hasn't dried out. It has stayed relatively moist. Whereas my Nuvo Paste, it has started to dry out. So moral of the story is both of them is good, but you need to use up your your paste from Tonic Studios a little bit quicker than this one. So look how pretty that is. Isn't that lovely? It's so pretty. Nice subtle background. So I'm going to put this off to the side, and then I'm going to show you just how I'm going to make my cards. I already have my stamped images done and ready to go, but I do just want to clean up my space really quick, because if I don't, the glitter will ruin your stencil, and that's no good. So I just want to get that glitter up, and you can see how fast it is just to clean up your workstation. It doesn't take very much time at all. I just use a cleanser. It's a surface cleaner by the laundress. I really like it. It's out of Manhattan. And who else carries it? Oh, the Container Store carries it, which is pretty awesome. All right, so I'm just going to take this and that, and we are done. Good to go. And I'm going to just remove my splat mat and work on my glass mat from here on out. My stencil I finally get to put in with my other stencils because it is ready for my stash now, which is exciting. I've had it, I've used it enough to stash it away. And I'll show you what I mean. I've created a ton of backgrounds with it already. I really like it, but it's ready to go into the stash, which is exciting. So I already have this one set up. This is that glitter glaze that I used with Gina K, the one we just did. This one is nice and dry though. So I'm going to create my card from this. And I thought it would be pretty backed against this silver. And I made some card bases. Do you guys make card bases in masses? I tend to. I like to do it in mass. So I'm going to use just my art glitter glue on all of this with the exception of when I put my vellum down because art glitter glue works on glitter and everything. It's so awesome. But my Gina K Connect is what I use for my vellum. It works really nice on vellum. And this is just going to be a rather simple but elegant card that I'm making for the holidays because it just, the glitter is just so beautiful that I don't want it to be too much. So I'm putting this down and I'll show you the stamped images that I already have cut out as well. And I use the extension on my art glitter glue just because it allows me to conserve it. It's not the cheapest glue, but it does manage to really last a long time. So that's really pretty and ready. And then I have these sentiments that I went ahead and embossed and stamped on vellum because you can see the background through it and it doesn't take away, but it calms down the area in which you are adding your sentiment to, because sometimes it can get super busy and we don't always want that. So these are the stamped images that I'm using, and I already have these little guys colored. I keep them in. So I have this little dude, I have the Christmas tree, and then of course I have the dog and the little presents. So I'm just going to put together some cards with these backgrounds real quick. And that Christmas tree is awfully pretty on that. So I think I'll do that one. And then for my sentiment, I can do Silent Night. And I can just pop it on right over my Christmas tree, or I can put the Christmas tree up higher and do it on the bottom. I think I'm going to do it dead in the center though. And again, since I'm working with the glitter, I'm going to continue to use my art glitter glue on this. And I colored these in with the Spectrum Nora tri-tip markers, which are fantastic. It takes all of the guesswork out of shading. The markers, like for example, this is one of them, and you just do the light, the medium, and the dark. And I can come on later and show how to do those, but they're so cool. All right, now for this vellum piece, I am going to use my Gina K Connect just because this is a wonderful glue for vellum. It tends to blend a little bit into the background better, and I just kind of go over where my sentiment is as to mask those glue dots. But if it leaks out, it's not as apparent as some other glues are and can be. So I'm just going to pop this one on right about there. And then this little card, my fingers are still dirty. Yucca, yucca. This little card is pretty much done. Now, even though I do have the glitter glue on and it works wonderful on glitter, I still do have to hold it for a little bit, so I'm going to pop this behind me and put something on top of it to hold it down and have it keep its place. But the other card I'm going to do is going to be this one. This is an image that I did with my Distress Oxides, and so I was thinking about doing the little wolf. Wolf means Merry Christmas and dog, and then adding my little dog here on a pop dot. So let me get my card base again, and for this one I'm actually thinking I'm going to do it on a gray background, a gray card base. So these are fairly, you know, simple, fast cards. Well, they're coming together fast on screen, of course, because I've done pretty much all the prep work. You know how that goes. So let me put this one down here, like so. And again, I just use that glitter, the art glitter glue. And I don't have a link provided for this. It can be a little tricky to find. I get it at my local craft store, but if you go over to my Instagram account, I do have a direct link provided for it in my profile. Okay, so for this one, I want to do, again, I'm just going to use my Gina K Connect on the vellum. I do not use Gina K on my entire card because this glue is expensive. It's a pricey one, and well, I'm cheap, so there you go. So I'm going to put this in the center, and then for my little dog, I'm just going to take and use a pop dot on him right here, and I think I'll add a little present next to him as well, just so I might, oh, you know what I can do? I can do two little presents because that looks kind of weird. So let me do two little presents right about there. And what that also does is it allows me to add a little bit more glue that I can camouflage with my little images. And I love the vellum. I love vellum because it really does allow the background to still shine through, but it calms down the area so it's not too busy, which it can get. So I'm just going to use some little 3D foam dots. Mine are from Close to My Heart, but any of them will work. Scrapbook Adhesive 3L makes fantastic foam dots. They're by far my very favorite. And I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but that vellum glue is still wet, or the Gina K glue is still wet, and I can't even see it anymore. So it really does blend nicely into your background. It dries beautifully on the vellum. Okay, so there's the little dog, and then let me do my little present like so. I don't like the cheap foam dots that you can get on like the $2 rack at Joann's or Hobby Lobby. They don't always come apart nicely, so I do like to get the nicer foam dots. All right, so here's this one. There we go. And boom. That's another cute little card. So for my next one, I'm going to show you guys the backgrounds that I created using the, I tried that technique again and it didn't work with the alcohol lift that we just didn't succeed at. So this is the one, my first try, and you can kind of see it in there, but not really. And then this is my second attempt at it. And again, it just didn't work for me. I don't know if I need to do some more research. If you guys have any like suggestions, maybe I'm doing something wrong. If you can tell me, I'd appreciate it. And then this is a Distress Oxide background, as is this one. So I'm thinking that I kind of, oh, I have two of these little guys. Oh, I have several of these little guys. Look at that. I didn't know that. So I'm going to pick one. And I think I'm going to pick this one with the red. Let me see. I was thinking about putting him on this alcohol ink background. Let me see here. Maybe he'd be cute on this one. Okay, yeah, we'll do that one. And I will save these little dudes for another day. And let's see here. I will do sending right up about that, and then we'll put a little present also off to the side. So for this one, I'll just do a regular white back card base on it. And then I'll have to show you guys real quick the other cards that I created for a blog hop that I'm doing with Craft Quote Collabs, in which I use these Simon Hurley stamps again. I think that they're so funny. I just love them. All right. I'm going to have to trim this down because it's not a very good match. So I'm going to position it up in the corner, and then I will trim the bottom off eventually. And then for this, I'm just going to do more of my glue. Even though I know you can't see through it, I still don't want to take any risks, so I like to put it over. And we'll just put this one right here, like so. And I didn't know that vellum does such a nice job with embossing. It really does a beautiful job. Okay, so I'm going to put this little dude right about there. I will use, I think I'm done with my glue now, so I'll make sure that I put my, this is a special tip that came with the extender. Don't ever use a regular needle in it. It has to be like steel, because if you use a regular needle in it, it gets all mildewy and gross. So don't ever use the regular needle. I learned that. Luckily, not the hard way, from someone else's hard way. Okay, so I'm just going to put him on pop dots as well. And whoop. There we go. And then let me get this little gift. I'll put the little gift kind of up there. I will call this one good. And I will show you real quick the other cards that I created with this stamp set. And the techniques that I used is going to be coming to my YouTube channel for a hop. I believe it's October 15th, but I did the filming for it today. So I'll give you a little sneak peek. So there's that little card. I just love these little Simon Hurley. They're so adorable. All right, so these are the other cards that I did with his cute little stamp set. So whimsical and sarcastic. Perfect for a little boy. Love that stamp set. So cute. And then this one is the same, just a different, simpler background. This one is more mixed media. And then this one with the little tree. All right, you guys, I have to go and pick up my son from football practice and make dinner. But I'm so glad that you could join me today. And if you're on playback, thank you for stopping by. And I will be on for sure tomorrow night at 7 o'clock my time, because I do my lives every Tuesday. These are that I'm doing now are just kind of random. Like I said, I'm trying to work through my catch-all bin on my desk. So, and I have to do it more than once a week. So it's really helping me play, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye.